to have with us today Advocate Susheela Sarathi. Advocate Susheela Sarathi is a designated senior counsel of the High Court of Karnataka with 35 years of experience. Ma'am is a senior mediator and a master trainer and is recognized by the Mediation and Conciliation Project Committee of the Supreme Court of India. Ma'am has trained many judges, advocates, and professionals in mediation across the nation. Ma'am was one of the members of the draft committee on suggested statute of mediation. She's also a resource person for the state and national judicial academics. In addition to this, Ma'am is also an author and a columnist. She has authored many books, including 3 books on mediation. Her recent book, Commentaries on the Hindu Marriage Act, has gained a lot of appreciation and recommendation. Her weekly blog, totem.law.blog, with its objective of sharing tips with trainers engaged in field of mediation, has crossed 102 weeks. Ma'am appears regularly on small screen in connection with several discussions on various legal and social issues. It is our honor to have you with us today, ma'am. On behalf of CMR School of Legal Studies, I extend a very warm welcome to you, ma'am. I kindly request you to address the gathering.
Thank you. Thank you. I am extremely thankful to CMR Association, CMR institution. When Subramaniam sir asked me to do something, I cannot say no. That's my weakness. It's an ocean of knowledge, and we are just droplets here and there. And I just feel surprised as to what a great visionary this gentleman is. Probably, I don't know about other institutions. This is for the first time I have come across a course designed to give inputs to students regarding journey to judgeship. My heartiest appreciations and congratulations to the institution and the entire team who has worked on this theme. The 3 earlier speakers are all judges. I was just wondering, why should I speak something? Am I a woman, odd woman out? Then I thought, they wanted to be judges and they have become judges. Here is a person like me who wanted to be a judge and did not or could not become a judge. So probably you will also have to know something from this side also. It's with this intention I said, yes, let me also contribute something. Maybe it's helpful to the students or not, that we will see at the end of the day. I always tell students, there is a theory which we generally use in management. It's a theory of loss and gain. As adults, we are not supposed to do something if it is going to cause us loss. We should say strict no to it. But there are some situations where you will never undergo loss, but whether you will gain something or not, you do not know. There are some situations where definitely you are going to gain something. Venture into it. Don't say no to it. Yes, I have to venture it because I'm going to gain something. But as I said, there are some situations where you will not know whether you are going to be gained or not. But at the same time, you can be 100% assured that you will never undergo loss. I tell you all, dear students, that if you aspire to become a judge, you will never undergo any loss. Even if you do not become a judge also, you will not undergo any loss. But whether you will gain anything or not, you have to see. But I would rather say, I am the best example. I would say that I have gained so much in aspiring to become a judge and not becoming a judge. So probably this is a rare example. I'm not here to threaten you, or I'm not here to disappoint you or demotivate you, but I'm also telling you the pros and consequences of this. See, the judiciary is time tested. People have immense faith in the judiciary. It's more than 100-year-old. For them, judge is considered as personification of goddess of justice. He is not a human being. He is not Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so. They know me as a lawyer. People from our own street or locality may come to me. I'm known to them. I'm 60-year-old lady. I'm 35-year-old in profession. Nevertheless, the trust they have in judiciary cannot be equated by any stretch of imagination to the trust that they may have in me. That's where I say judges have perceived credibility. I don't say that they don't have credibility at all. But the moment you say justice so-and-so, judge so-and-so, judge so-and-so, you have a perceived credibility. People will immediately believe them. But for you, for Susheela to have that credibility, she has to work for 35 years. But you are a judge, people believe you, people trust you. That's where we say judge for a common citizen is personification of goddess of justice. When you aspire to become a judge, in your journey to judgeship, you are going to get that perceived credibility. In order to achieve that, how you have to function, how you have to act, how you have to mold yourself is very important. That's where we say that focus on the journey, not on the destination. That's another aspect that I request you to consider. Thinking about the theory of loss and gain, I was also telling you that moving from advocates to becoming a judge is a process of evolution. You have to work on yourself. It's a race which cannot be run by anybody else for you, but you have to run your own race. So you have to equip yourself. You cannot compare yourself with anybody else. You can't feel envious of anybody else, because at the end of the day, it's your own race and you have to run your own race. That's one fundamental thing you have to remember. I'll tell you my journey just for about 5 to 6 minutes so that you will know where I failed and where you should not be failing, or what I did from where you can take a leaf, and which leaf you cannot or you should not be taking is also left to your counsels. See, when I started profession in the year 1986. I came from a strata which is just about to reach to middle class level. It is in between lower middle class and middle class. We had lots of financial constraints also. In those days, there was nothing known as a civil judge junior division or civil judge senior division. The first category was that of a munsif. So I wanted to become a munsif. So there was a condition that for 4 years you can't become a munsif. Only after putting in with 4 years of practice, you can become a munsif. You can aspire to become a munsif. You have to write the exam. So from day one of my practice, I started reading CPC, CRPC Evidence Act in such a way that I used to by heart virtually. So CPC, CRPC, and then Evidence Act. I was thorough on it. Then when the exam had to be taken, I just asked somebody, what is going to be the salary of a munsif? They said 4,000 or 4,500 or something of that kind. By that time, I had started earning 5,500 rupees per month. I thought, oh, 1,500 rupees loss, I'm not going to go for this. I just left it. Then suddenly I thought, after some years, I thought there was another condition that you should have put in with 7 years of practice in order to become a district and sessions judge. So I thought, oh, why should I become a munsif? Let me become a judge, district judge. So, and all of you might have heard of former Chief Justice of Calcutta High Court, Mrs. Manjula Chellu. She was the district and session, first woman district and session judge in our Kolar district, former Kolar district, now district Balapur district. So I was always, wow, this is something great. I should become a judge, I thought. And then I started working on that. Then if you have to become a district and sessions judge, you should know something about criminal procedure, you should have conducted some sessions cases, etc. So I used to travel from our place to a district court and then get myself acquainted with lawyers who were all great masters as far as conducting criminal cases was concerned. And I used to take their files, write so many things. I started learning how to read FIR, how to read a charge sheet. And about Evidence Act, that was different, but practical procedural aspects are different. Substantive law is different. Practical knowledge is entirely different. I started working on that. And there was no written exam for the district judges in those days. I thought, in my arrogance or audacity, whatever you may call, I thought if I go and attend the interview, I'll be selected. This was my status of mind at that point of time. There was no humility. Then I thought of going. Then again, once again, I asked a CMO. CMO means Sharastedar rather. What is the salary of a district judge? He said some 8,200 or 8,000 something. I don't remember exactly. Then I thought I'm already earning beyond 12,000, between 12,000 and 15,000. And I'm married and now I have a small kid also. And I thought if I am selected, I'll not be given the home district. I will be given elsewhere. With loss of money, foregoing my family, happiness, everything, and leaving the child. Why should I take this? I am not going to take this. So I just left it. Again, after 3 years, once again, I thought I should go. Every law report I will read, whether the subject is connected. My area of practice was very limited to civil laws. And then here and there, some small criminal cases. But nevertheless, I would read all the judgments from A to B. The ILR reports we used to get. Look at the financial position I had when I wanted to become a munsif. I had written a letter to, I don't know where that letter has gone. In a postcard, I had written a letter. It was 90 rupees. I don't know whether the Chief Justice could have considered that or not considered that. Simply, I wrote a letter telling that for 90 rupees is too big an amount for any budding lawyer. So they should give us some installment facility to enable us to get ILRs. That was my financial position. Then this district judges exam, second time I went, I had another kid, second son. He was around 6 or 8 months old or 1 year old. I don't remember exactly. Then suddenly, because of fever, the child did not take milk. When the child doesn't drink milk, the mother gets too much of pain in the breast. I drew the car till Hoskote, and my God, it was impossible for me to go further. I drew back home. Then I thought probably I'm not destined to become a judge. I left it there. From 94 to 2096, 95 was my son born. 96, I started sending my cases to one Mr. Balkrishna Shastri, who is a very eminent person in Bangalore. On the civil side, he's rather an authority. I used to refer my cases to him to get the cases filed in High Court. Then slowly, weekly once, I used to come to handle my cases and his cases also. Then it became twice a week, thrice a week, 4 times a week. From 94, I started. 96, continuously I started. 96 to 2006, for nearly 10 years. It started from 94, but 96, seriously, it started. 12 years approximately, I traveled every day 160 kilometers from my hometown to Bangalore. 80 kilometers up and down, 80 kilometers this way, 80 kilometers that way. The roads were horrible. The buses were horrible. And I don't know and the buses were completely, there was not even, most of the time I used to be standing with all the luggage with me. I don't know from where I got the strength, but I wanted to become a High Court judge. 2006 onwards, I shifted to Bangalore. My practice increased. So even now my office in the hometown is run by my juniors and they have taken care and they have all grown well. 2006 onwards, I started working myself. And you take it from me, when my financial position got stabilized, I hired a cook. The cook would come in the morning at 6:30. She would ring the bell. I will open the door. she will walk into the kitchen. I will walk towards sheer voice constitution. That 1 hour, 15 minutes, the lady used to be there. I will be completely with my sheer voice constitution. 6,000 rupees per month. 6,000 rupees I was spending on myself. I read everything about constitution. And what I'm telling is, whether I became a judge or not is immaterial. There afterwards, for some reasons, it couldn't happen. That's not an issue. But nevertheless, in the journey towards judgeship, my work towards learning CPC and CRPC Evidence Act, substantive laws, about learning about how to conduct the sessions cases, and learning about constitution, all these things never failed. I never thought of becoming a Supreme Court judge. At times, I think probably if I had even dreamt of that, whether it would happen or not, it would have happened or not, that's immaterial, irrespective of that. Then probably still more deeply I would have gone into these subjects. That's where I say an effort never goes lost. All your efforts will give you returns, but in what way they give returns is not in your hands. Do not stop aspiring to become someone, or do not ever fail to dream. You may not get a gold medal in the Olympics, but in the process of competing or going till there, how much you would have worked on your body, how much you would have strengthened your body, how much you would have, worked on your mindset. This is what is important. Today, maybe I did not become a munsif, maybe I did not become a district judge, that's different. But what it has given me, only I know. I am enjoying all those things. This is where I request to consider all these aspects. Supposing you do not become a judge, you can be, don't have that audacity of not going for the examination at all. I did that mistake. See, the moment people started knowing that I am appearing for these exams, I am very serious, I am reading, I am learning so many things, number of cases coming to me started increasing. But don't take it in another manner. Just because you start telling everybody that I want to become a judge one day, people will not come to you. They will also observe you. They will follow you. If you are really serious and if you are so studious and in the court presentations and all, your knowledge gets reflected, then probably they will come behind you or come looking forward to you. Now you see, when you are at this, write the exam. The day on which your interview card comes, attend the interview. Then you can say yes or no. There is nothing that prohibits you or stops you from telling no. But attend the exam, take the exam also. I did that mistake of not taking the exam of munsifs. I could have taken that exam. District judges exam also I could have taken. Then probably I would have had one more feather in my cap. People would have said, here is a lady who was selected as a district judge, but did not opt to be a judge. She has continued in her profession. Maybe I would have been selected, may not be. That's a different issue. If I had been selected, this another credibility factor would also have been to my credit. That's where, when I say do's and do nots, I'm here to speak on do's and do nots. I suggest that you aspire to become a judge. Do all the preparations as Mr. Ramchandra Huddar or Mr. Nitish have told you. And then appear for the exams. Whether you get selected or not, irrespective of that, because that seriousness will come. And then if you do not, for any reasons, get selected, or if you do not decide to go as a judge, then you have multiple options. You can become a judicial member of KAT. You can become a senior counsel over a period of time with so much of knowledge and expertise. And then people will approach you to take opinions. People will hire the services of somebody else, but will hire your services as arguing counsels for a limited purpose. Even before becoming designated senior counsel also, some young lawyers used to approach me and request me, Madam, can you please make submissions or argue in this matter? I used to agree. And they will take you for cross-examinations. Sometimes people come to us and ask us to write some questions. We charge heavily, of course, but we write some questions that can be put to the other side in the cross-examination. Only for that limited purpose, to give them 5 or 10 questions, they will pay us. You can become a government advocate, you can become a member of the conciliation, and then courts will call you as an amicus curiae in some cases. These are all the advantages that you have. Now, and I tell you, money comes automatically in this profession. I have seen life without money and with lots of money. I have reached a saturation point as far as money is concerned. It comes automatically. When you have knowledge, when you are hardworking, when there is integrity, honesty, money will have to follow, it will follow. Don't be afraid of that. And you need not have to travel. I mean, our days are different. Now, I don't think anybody will have to go through that. I used to wear a Hawaii chappal. And I remember 2 days when I had put a safety pin and then walked with that Hawaii chappal. Today, that is not the position for our children or for our next generation, like you all. You are already in the first floor. You can either go up or stay in the first floor. For us, we had to come from Patal. That difficulty is not there for you people. Count your blessings. Work on. Say, I could never have thought of an institution like CMR where I can get myself admitted. Look at the luxury you have. Look at the library you have. Look at the professors you have. Look at the faculty members you have. Look at the resource persons you get to give you inputs like Mr. Justice Suraj Govindraja, Ramchandra Uddar, and Nitish, etc. This luxury we never had. So count your blessings and work on that. That's one aspect that I would like to say. Now we say there are several challenges in any learning process. In fact, in mediation also, we tell people about the challenges that one has to just face if he is into any profession. The challenges, if you want to become a judge in your journey towards judgeship, you will have to face these challenges. First challenge is of motivation. Adults can never be motivated by others. Today I have seen Mr. Justice Suraj Govindraj. Wow, I would like to become a judge. Today I have seen Mr. Professor Subramaniam. I want to become an academician like Mr. Subramaniam. That's one thought you will get, but you have to work on that. So no external force can motivate you. Your mother wants you to be a judge. You can say yes, you can write the exam, but you will not become a judge. You have to work on that. So motivation is something. Children can be motivated by external forces. Adults cannot be motivated by external forces. You have to constantly and continuously motivate yourself. I want to take up the judge's exam. I want to become a judge one day. So I have to read in a different way. I have to work on myself like this constantly and continuously. When the motivation stops, the purpose automatically fails. I see somebody doing the invocation today. Oh, so nicely Anakha Hari has sung. Let me also join music class. I will join today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. 4th day, I will not go. That's not there. So you have to constantly and continuously motivate yourself. Do that. Next, retention. What is retention? Retention is the capacity of an individual to retain the information that he has received. If you want to be a judge, you should be very thorough on the substantive law and procedural law. People, I mean, you have to work on your retention capacity. It was the lawyer Daftari, if I remember rightly, of the Bombay province. He said once, trust your memory. If you say 1969 Supreme Court page 333, it should be 1969 Supreme Court page 333. Don't say I will forget. You can work on your memory. Retention is the capacity of an individual to retain the information that one has received. How do you develop this retention capacity? When something is important to you, you will remember. When something is not important, you will not remember. What all Dr. Aruna L has scolded you, you will remember. What all Dr. Aruna L has taught you, you may not remember. Because Aruna L has scolded you, that is very serious for you, that you have retained here. I'm just giving an analogy, that's all. So, every time you read, make it a habit to say that this is important. And another thing that if you want to remember something, when you understand something, you are sure to remember it. If you read it for the purpose of reading, you will forget. But 2 ones are 2, you will not forget. Janagana Mana, which we have learned when we were in 2nd standard or 3rd standard, we will not forget. But today you want to by heart a poem of some great masters, you will not memorize it immediately, because that day when you were young, that learning capacity is different. There you memorized. Here, you can't memorize. Adults cannot memorize. Only it comes with an understanding, then you will memorize. You will remember that. So retention is one capacity where you have to work. If you want to be a judge, if you want to read anything, there are 2 ways. To start with, you go to your library, take very, very big books. Take Shirvai's Constitution and take it home. Don't read it. Just have the habit of taking books and going home. Slowly we'll start reading it. Substantive law, take bare acts. Read the bare acts. First few sections will be very boring. There are 2 ways. One is to start from the first section and go to the last section. Supposing Hindu Marriage Act. First section to last section, you will lose. Go from section 5 to 24, 25, 26 also. Then get back to 1 to 5 and go to 27 to 30. Repeal and other things will be there in any enactment, any statute. So this is how you can read. First read the bare act, then commentaries, then case laws, our High Court case laws and the Supreme Court's case laws. Then you will understand how strong your memory has become. And don't feel that in order to understand it takes too much of time. No. If you sit there with the preparation of understanding that, you will understand it. If you give a command to your mind, oh, it's very difficult to understand, and then sit, it will take hundreds and hundreds of hours for you to understand. So the preparation, the mindset is very important. Setting an atmosphere and mindset is very important. If I'm reading something, I'm reading it with the idea of understanding. Tomorrow you become a lawyer. Every case file is like a child. I should know what my child is or what my child is not. If you want to become a judge, for a judge, a case file is not just a case file, it's a child. He has to understand the child from the perspective of both the parents. That's how you develop. Next challenge is reinforcement. Reinforcement is the capacity of an individual. Reinforcement means there are 2 types. One is positive reinforcement and one is negative reinforcement. Reinforcement ensures excellent behavior in an individual. With reinforcement, positive reinforcement, you learn something positive. Till this day you are doing something that's good, continue to do that. Till this day you are not doing something properly, now you know what should not be done, leave out. That's negative reinforcement. Take out that. Work on the positive, whatever is there earlier, positive in you, continue to do it. And then get some more positive things. Work on those things, strengthen. If you do not work on your retention capacity, you will never, you read something and leave it there. Oh, somewhere I have read that word. Doctrine of Pitta and Substance. But what it is, I am not able to get it. Because I have not worked on the retention capacity. So that's where reinforcement is also a challenge. You have to work on that. Next is transference. Transference is the capacity of an individual to learn something in one atmosphere and make use of it in some other atmosphere. You have read so much in order to become a judge. Make use of it in your advocacy. Make use of it in your profession as a judge. Some people, some excellent lawyers have not, I don't say that they should not have become judges. With all humility at my command, I have seen some very good lawyers have not become, they couldn't do something as so much as they could have done or they were doing as lawyers when they became judges. But some very ordinary lawyers have become excellent judges. The transference capacity is very important. What you learn in one atmosphere, you have to make use of it in practical situations. That's where the capacity of this challenge of transference can be met with. Equip yourself in such a way that whatever you have learned will not get wasted and will be made useful when it has to be made useful. Next is time management. All of us will say, oh, I'm already burdened. Now, so many semesters after semester, so many programs. Where will I get time? I remember one famous line. Both mosquito and bee, both are very busy. Mosquito is squatted. Bee is appreciated. It's not important as to how busy you are, but why you are busy is very important. If you are reading today jurisprudence, Solomon's jurisprudence, read it in such a way that one fine day I want to be a judge, I will become a judge. It's not for today. It's an investment that I'm making today. I'm putting it in FD. I have to draw the interest some other day. So work on yourself. And if you have to manage your time, learn to say no. You should learn to say no to many things. That's where persons who wanted to become judges, persons who wanted to become judges and who might or might not have become judges have always managed their time in such a way that they can't say yes to all. They will know where they have to invest their time. They can't put their hands in several things. You can't be wearing several hats at a time. Maybe it's attractive. You will be asked to come here and go there. So many things will attract you. But if you are focused, work towards that. Say no to anything else. That's where if your goal is to become a judge, everything that pushes you towards that goal tells you about your self-control. Everything that draws you away from that goal. Oh, what if I don't become a judge? I can become a lawyer like Susheela. You can't become a lawyer like Susheela. You can become a lawyer like Susheela only when you wanted to become a judge and did not become a judge. I don't say that everyone who is a successful lawyer wanted to become a judge. No, that's not the theory. But I'm telling you only in the limited context. Don't draw lines between the words or sentences that I have spoken here to mean it differently. If your focus or goal is to become a judge, anything that withdraws you from that goal, say no to that. That is the do not that you have to think of. Some skills you have to work on. Speaking skills and writing skills. Talent is not to use two words where you can use one word. So you should try to inculcate. These are all skills that can be acquired. Probably precise writing would have been taught to you when you were in 4th standard. Now taxonomy is also there. Judgment, big judgment is given, divided into 4 parts, and each one is asked to write a para about that. First part of the judgment, second part is given to somebody else, third part is given to somebody, fourth part is given to somebody. And then at the end of the day, all the 4 parts put together, it will come in within 1 page. But the entire crux of 150 pages of judgment will be there. So you have to see how you can express in few words, but the content is not misplaced or missed out in any manner. So when we consider these speaking and writing skills, what you have to think is, first point is clarity. Work yourself on the first quarter, which is clarity. What is clarity? Ice is cold. Is there any doubt about it? No. Fire is hot. This is clarity. Any doubt about it? No doubt. So this is clarity. If you want to become a judge, your judgment should be very reflective, in the sense there should be clarity. At times when people come, when we ask them, should you go for an appeal? They say, madam, the judgment is so clear. I think everything against us has been clearly set in the judgment. So I don't think there is any point in going to a higher court. I really appreciate that. A common man, a client understands what the judgment is, because there is so much of clarity in that. There are n number of judges, but for you to understand, I request you to read some of the judgments of Arijit Pasayat, some of the judgments of our own Justice Ravindran. Very simple language, very, very ordinary language, with no grammatical error, of course. But it goes like a story. They take one line after the other, one line after the other. And then you suddenly read the judgment from in the court of till the end. Wonderful. Of course, Vivian Bose and all, I don't say that there are n number of good judges. But what I'm telling is very simple, very neat, understandable language where there is clarity. Brevity. I told you talent is not to use two words where you can use one word. Continuity. There should be a thread. And you have to think of these four categories. And there is another thing known as principle of three tells. If you are going to tell something, tell them what you are going to tell. I am going to tell you about Ramayana. Then second tell. Tell them about Ramayana. I can't tell you that I am going to tell you about Ramayana and start telling you about Bible or Mahabharata. Maybe one line I can take from there. But everything that I tell should focus on Ramayana only. Today I am here to take you through your journey to judgeship. I am going to tell you something about do's and do nots related to journey to judgeship. And I have to tell about that. I can't tell about anything else. Maybe I know several hundreds of things. But I should focus my attention only to this. Third tell. Tell what you have told. At the end, you should summarize. This is what it is. This you have to develop as a student, as an advocate. If you become a judge, as a judge also, or in any walk of life. Even when you are talking to your spouse or children or parents, you should follow this. Appa, I want to talk to you about this. Talk about this. And then tell your father, Daddy, this is what I wanted. That's what I have told you. This principle of three tells will, take you to the earlier one, that is how to bring clarity, brevity, continuity in your writing and speaking skills. I tell you, this is a quote by Vygotsky. Vygotsky is a Russian social philosopher. He is a sociologist also. A word devoid of thought is a dead thing. You should not speak. If you want to be a judge, you should not speak unnecessarily. Cultivate that habit from today itself. Because there is silence everywhere, because nobody is speaking, you do not have to speak. If there is a thought, then you can speak. Otherwise, without thought, if you are speaking, it's not speaking, it is talking. That's when teachers always tell you, don't talk. Do they tell you don't speak? They have always warned you when you were young, isn't it? Don't talk. Even now your professors may tell you. Word devoid of thought is a dead thing. But a thought unembodied in words is a shadow. You must also know You will have strong thoughts, creative ideas you will have. Say, look at this program. This is a creative idea of your Dean Subramaniam and the team. Until you put it in words, it remains as a shadow. Oh, I had so many thoughts in my mind. Why you did not become a writer? Why I did not become a writer? Because we have never put our thoughts into words. Try to put your wonderful thoughts into words and avoid putting words where there are no thoughts at all. This is another thing that you need to work on if you want to become a judge. When we speak, if you are a judge material, when you speak, every line that you speak must get underlined. Otherwise, you should not speak at all. That is the difference. You look at some wonderful speakers and you look at some speakers. You have listened to them for people, you would have listened to people like me. After 1.5 years, you will tell, oh, Susheela madam spoke so well about journey to judgeship. What did she speak? She spoke. Not even one line gets underlined. But when eminent speakers speak, every line gets underlined because it's not devoid of thought, and the thoughts are embodied in words in such a way that there is no shadow, but there is complete clarity. Work on these elements. See, do you know writing? I know writing. Do you know reading? I know reading. We all say, yes, yes, yes. But do we actually know writing? Do we actually know speaking? This is the question you have to put if you want to move towards being a judge. Next is active listening skills. This is the most difficult part. Everyone wants to speak. Nobody wants to listen. Thank you for listening, somebody said. That other gentleman said, I was not listening. I was waiting for my chance to speak. Everybody, in the pretext of listening, will be waiting to speak. Listen to wonderful. I mean, if you go to Supreme Court's website, there's every Friday session there. Eminent lawyers have spoken on different subjects. Eminent judges have spoken on different subjects. Listen to them. Listen to TED Talks. You will know how beautiful it is to listen to another human being. How beautiful it is to listen to eminent scholars. That's where you will develop. Active listening, there are some inputs that I would like to give you. See here, if you want to be a good speaker, speak like the standing bird so that the listener speaks with so much of attention. Why you don't listen? Because it is unimportant for you. Again, the capacity of retention. You don't listen when your mother is telling something, you don't listen because you know she is giving a lecture or sermon to you. But if you have to be a good listener, listen in such a way. Look at the body language. This is an award-winning picture on what is active listening. See here, active listening, how it is, how they are speaking, how the standing bird is speaking, and how another bird is listening. This is what you have to consider. I tell you, when the professors speak in the class, listen to them with great attention. Give a command to yourself. Motivate yourself. Go to the first slide that I showed you. Motivation. Give a motivation to yourself. I should listen to my professor. I should retain all the information she or he is giving to me. I should understand everything. With this preparation mindset, you sit. You will get everything. You need not have to worry at all. But what we do is we mechanically sit there. That is the problem we have. One of the most difficult things that a judge faces is, I don't know whether His Lordship Justice Suraj Govindrajan has said about this or not. It's very difficult to be a good listener. It's in fact taxing. Being a mediator, I know very well. Sometimes in the initial stages, we used to get a feeling, oh, what nonsense this fellow is talking. Why should I listen? Should I be a mediator at all? These questions would come. To judges, definitely, when we are speaking so much of nonsense, they will definitely be feeling like, why the hell did I become? It's taxing, but still, they cannot go on mental vacation. Isn't it? In the class, you are there and you go on mental vacation. To certify yourself as a good listener, ask a question. How often did you go on mental vacation in the class of Mrs. Dash, Shri Dash? If you have gone on mental vacation, Susheela madam is giving a lecture on family law, Hindu law. You went to your home in between the class and then ate idli and came back. You went to a shopping mall and bought some t-shirts and pants. You fought with your friend Gopal. All these things happened within 35 minutes. Why? Because you went on a mental vacation. Mindfulness is something you should be in the present. The best investment one can make is on time. I suggest that everyone should wear a watch. And I always suggest that they should wear it on the right hand. Go by the one resource that we have all ignored is time. Work on that resource. That is the best resource that you have. If you want to become a lawyer or a judge or a professor, whatever it is, work on the best resource. I'll get back to this story later. See, Professor Tom Taylor, those of you who are interested in general reading can go to Google or work. He's a professor from Yale University. He has done wonderful work on procedural justice. He says quality of decision making is very important. What does a judge do? A judge takes a decision either this way or that way. In the process of decision he takes the decision. There is difference between decision making process and decision taking. Decision taken, who takes the decision? The judge takes the decision. In the process of making decision, who all participate? The two lawyers participate, behind them the clients and their witnesses participate. And then the judge also participates in the process of making decision because he wants to understand the whole process. And then he takes a decision this way or that way. Now you see, quality of decision making is very important. As a judge, why I tell people to aspire to become a judge is it teaches us so many things. In the process of becoming a judge, you will understand that, oh, even if I continue as a lawyer, I can't win all cases. Some lawyers we have seen, they take it so personally. Any case goes against them, they're totally agitated. If your parent says no to something of some demand of yours, you go mad, you shout at them, you howl at them. But if you are in the process of becoming a judge, you will know the decision cannot go in favor of both the parties. It has to be either this way or that way. But the decision-making process involves these things. Voice. Everyone wants to be respected. So if you want to follow the journey of judgeship, be respectful to anybody, irrespective of their status or strata from where they have come. Every individual needs to be, why individuals, even dog and cat need to be respected. And do not allow anybody to be disrespectful to yourself. First thing that you need to understand is you have to respect yourself. In order to respect yourself, you should work on yourself. You should know your abilities, your capabilities, so that you respect yourself. So that people will give respect. Even if they don't give respect, doesn't matter. But they cannot be disrespectful to you. If you want to be a judge, you can't allow others to be disrespectful to you. And you must equally be respectful to others. How you be respectful to others? Voice. Listen to the voice. Everyone wants their voice to be heard. Listen to their voice. Be respectful. Neutrality. Not being in such a position as to be making one person in a disadvantageous position than the other because of your acts and deeds. You can't be doing that. Timely response. What needs to be done today cannot be postponed for tomorrow. Procrastination should be removed. That's where we say one of the elements that I feel, our judges are overburdened. Our courts, number of courts are less, number of judges are less, n number of files are there. Timely response is what is required. I file a case for the custody of my child when the child is 3-year-old. And the judgment comes after the child is 18-year-old. The question here is, timely response is something. If you start looking at the watch and working on the watch, probably you will cultivate this habit. And over a period of time, when our country grows in such a way that there is proper infrastructure also, you will know what is the value of timely response, helpfulness. Ultimate aim of human being is we're all social animals. You can't, supposing I tell you, let us think for a while that I am the higher principle of the divine God, and I tell you, look, I will give the key of this entire world to Mrs. Ramya. Only Ramya can live here. Can Ramya live in this world with nobody there? Impossible. She alone in this world. They're all social animals. In order to live, you will have to depend on somebody else. And somebody else will also have to depend upon you. Understand that. That's where this helpfulness. These 5 fundamental principles that Taylor speaks so much about is required to be followed by every individual, not just an advocate, not just by a judge. But for an advocate and judge, these are primarily important. Empathy is one of the qualities of a judge. Empathetic listening is very important. When we say listening, empathetic listening, you understand the person as that person wants to be understood. I want all of you to understand my talk in a particular manner. If you understand it in a different language, no, my purpose is a failure. So, what are the empathy blocks? When somebody is speaking, if you want to be a judge, cultivate that from today itself. Don't interrogate. Don't ask embarrassing questions. Don't argue. Don't bully. Don't patronize. I will help you out. I know what you want. You need not have to tell her. This is patronizing. Stereotyping. People like you are like this. All ladies are like this. All men are like this. All people from this state are like this. People from this state are like this. No, you can't be doing. These are all empathy blocks. Cultivate that habit from today itself. Preaching, threatening, interrupting, dismissing the views, generalizing, persuading. Even persuading is not considered as good. Prevailing upon. You listen to what I say. See, if you just go back home and write back what all you have spoken to others, please see, haven't you done any of these things? If you have done, you are not a judge material. You are not even an advocate material also. You are not a human material also. We all consider ourselves as humans. Human beings is different. So these are the areas where we have to work on ourselves. You have to work on your patience, calmness, composedness, be stoic, we say. Those of you who are interested in general reading, please read Marcus Aurelius' Meditations book. It's not about meditation. He's a Roman emperor. His book is very, very good. But to start with, you can read his quotations. Marcus Aurelius quotations on meditation. If you put Marcus Aurelius Meditations, you will get n number of quotes. Read that. That will help you to know what you can control and what you cannot control, and how you can work with patience, and how you can be stoic. Humility is one of the things, and common sense. I'll tell you a small story. 2 minutes, 3 minutes time. I have 2:05. I have to stop. The judge and his wife, the Sessions judge, Sessions judge is a case where sessions judge will have to go through cases where sometimes murder trials will be going on and there should be an order, conviction order followed by sentence. So it can be some very difficult sentences. It can be a death penalty also at times. So a judge was not in his ordinary mood. The wife was troubled too much. So one day while they were going on a walk, she said, Mr. Dash, whatever his name, let us think for a while, Shamsundar. Mr. Shamsundar, why you are depressed for the past so many days, 15 days, I am seeing you. You are not the usual self. You are not eating properly, sleeping properly. You are not the same person as I have seen in these 30 years of our marriage. Then he said, I have recorded the evidence in one trial case. I'm really not, I have to write the judgment. I'm working so hard. I'm not getting whether I should give a judgment of death penalty or not. Whether I should acquit him or convict him, I'm getting it out. This was troubling the judge gentleman. The wife, who is just a graduate, may not be even a graduate, she said, if there is a doubt, can you give conviction? Look at this, how beautiful it is. This is common sense. See, in criminal jurisprudence, what we say is, if there is an element of doubt, we have to consider that seriously, isn't it? In criminal jurisprudence. But that common sense prevailed. Immediately the judge said, yes, if I am getting so much of doubt for the past 15 days, probably this is not a case of conviction. Maybe this is a story. This is a real case history. We do not know. I'm just taking a leaf from somewhere I have read. This is where the common sense also. So in order to become a judge, it is not enough if you depend upon the books. You have to learn many things from people around you. You have to read general books also, in addition to law books. Jurisprudence, Solomon's jurisprudence is prescribed as a text even for literature students. It's a philosophy by itself. You have to read that. That passion, if you develop, when you read, the result is entirely different. Thank you all for your excellent listening. I presume that you are all active listeners. I do not know. This is a perceived credibility factor you have when you are listening through online. So thank you for the CMR institution for providing me an opportunity to share some of my views. If anybody else is here, you want to ask something, you can ask, or your madam can close the session.
Ma'am, before Ramya starts the question answer session, I just wanted to tell the participants that you have been instrumental in this entire thing. So when I called you, you were in the lift, ma'am. You said, call me back at 7 o'clock. So I set an alarm. I called back. Then immediately ma'am said, do you have a paper and pen? Take down, she said. So by the time I had called her in the morning to 7 in the evening, she had already prepared the plan for us. And she said, these are all the things that you can talk about. And I was so touched by her, passion to just give out the information that she has. And she said, I will also speak. Okay, and I will speak on what mistakes we've done. And I keep telling Dean sir, when we have a conversation, we say as teachers, we should never let the students reinvent the wheel. So what mistakes we have done, we should impart to them, let them make fresh mistakes. So, this was a complete journey, ma'am. So you have taken us very much well within the element. I'm not going to take away what Arjit has reserved to say. But then I think the participants should have known that you were very instrumental in this entire thing happening. And you made it so smooth for us. You also identified the people. You said, okay, why don't you speak to the Judicial Academy? They will be willing to help you. You sent me their number. Everything was so smooth, ma'am. It's only because of you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you, Ramya.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the very insightful speech. Now the floor is open for questions. All the students are requested to post your questions and doubts in the chat box. And please do not unmute. I now invite Ramya Chandrasekhar ma'am to moderate the question answer session.
Thank you, Anaka. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, you covered So many aspects. I am sure many doubts have already been clarified through your speech. However, I will just pose a few questions that we had previously received. Students, you can in the meanwhile add on to the questions in the chat box for ma'am's kind response. So ma'am, the first question is, with ADR catching up and developing speedily, do you think the role of judges is now diminished in the Indian judiciary?
Not at all. Not at all. It is supplementary. They go hand in hand. Judges are also trained in mediation. There are some cases which need to be adjudicated. There are some cases which should not be adjudicated at all. They should be resolved. There are some disputes which need to be resolved. So a judge who is trained in mediation will know which are the cases that need to be adjudicated, where the law has to be laid down. Those are all, there's a clear demarcation there.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is that you spoke at length about all the skills, the qualities, the capabilities, and the way the students should chart their course of action as law students. The students want to know, is it not sufficient if somebody has a vision to do service to the common man and render justice through the judiciary? Is it a student with, say, an average marks or students with average interest in academics? Is it not possible for them to enter judiciary then?
They can. Definitely they can. Your marks, academic excellence is something different. But I'm telling you, so many qualities are required. Just vision alone will not take you anywhere. There should be mission and there should be action also.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, another question is that nowadays students sometimes feel overburdened with a lot of assignments, projects, exams, constant assignments, constant checks on all their skills. So how, if they want to be a judge, how should they train themselves and how should they chart out a course of action as when they are law students?
Madam, when some people from my husband's side come and ask for a coffee, I feel very tired. But when my sister or my brother or my brother's granddaughter comes from elsewhere, I do everything. I don't get strained at all. When you do something that you like, you will never get strained. You will find time for everything. If you want to do something which you don't like, you will be stressed out. That's where somebody has said, "Ishtapattu maadi, kashtapattu madabedi."
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, another question that we received is, oftentimes what happens is that students realize the importance of a particular career option, maybe in their 4th or 5th year, by which time they have probably not equipped themselves with the skills required for that profession, maybe not completely. So what is your message to students for, say, the 4th or 5th year who feel that, oh, judgeship is something too difficult for me to attain. Now I'm not equipped properly. I have realized my passion only now.
It doesn't matter. Whenever you have realized that, from that day you start working.
Okay, students, do you have any other questions for ma'am?
For this question, I have also got an answer. Supposing I say I am Susheela, I am aged about so many years, my qualification is this. I consider myself very beautiful. I want to contest for Miss Universe. Not possible. But at the same time, if I want to be a member of jury who would select this Miss Universe, probably I can set that goal and start working on myself from today. After 6 or 7 years, maybe I am invited as one of the jury members, or may not be. But in the process, I'll gain so many other things also. Doesn't matter.
Ma'am, another question that I would like to personally ask is that, ma'am, is it slightly a difficult endeavor for females who want to enter judiciary, as you explained in your life's experience, the different avenues you had and the decisions you had to make?
Not at all. Not at all.
Ma'am, also, do you have any suggestions or recommendations for what law schools or teachers can do to facilitate students in taking up judiciary as a career or considering it in the right perspective?
See, you can have, supposing law schools can also have some certification courses. Already Lahari is doing, there are some programs. In fact, I go as a resource person to several academies where we train lawyers to become judges. on some, we give them training. And once you are appointed as a judge, Judicial Academy has also got so many training programs for them. It's an ongoing program. National Judicial Academy also has got training program for High Court judges also they have got. In fact, worldwide, they are doing this. Everywhere, judges are also being trained time and again by eminent persons in different ways. So in order to become a judge, if those persons who have appeared for the exams, they undergo several trainings. So even CMR can start. So those students or those advocates who want to become judges, they can come and take up this course. A certification course can be there. So they can undergo a training for about 6 months, 3 months, like this. Online training also they can take. So where substantive law, procedural law, writing judgments, their language skills, everything about all these aspects that we can help them. In fact, from Bangalore, every year, every time the announcement is made, they give training. And I have been giving training with different academies and different groups also. I am part of that.
Ma'am, another question we've just received in the chat box is whether postgraduate studies assists or facilitates a career in judiciary?
It can. It definitely. Just because you're not a postgraduate, it doesn't mean that you don't have so much of knowledge. Those who do not have post-graduation also, nobody prevents you from getting the knowledge which a postgraduate will get. But if you are a postgraduate, fair enough. No qualification gets wasted.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Susheela ma'am. Thank you so much, Ramya ma'am. I request all the participants to please switch on their cameras. I now invite Arjit sir to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Anaka. Now we come to the end of this highly informative session of one-day certification course. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks. On behalf of Internship and Placement Cell and Center for Skill Development and the entire fraternity of CMR University School of Legal Studies, I first of all extend my heartiest gratitude to our distinguished guest for this session, Advocate Susheela Sarathi ma'am, Master Trainer for Mediation and Senior Counsel, who spared her valuable time from her busy schedule to address our students. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your very thought-provoking and interesting address. I'm sure the techniques you shared and prep talk you gave to the students regarding time management and factors to be kept in mind before choosing judiciary as a profession will always be with them, and it will be helping them in guiding their future actions. You shared several practical insights on the right perspective a person should have before taking up any career. You also mentioned about the skills needed to succeed, how one should equip himself with the right skills which are required to be consistent in one's pursuit. And your motivational line, an effort to become a judge will never go in vain, will aid the students in pushing themselves without having any giving up thoughts. I also express my earnest gratitude to Honorable Justice Suraj Govindraj, Sir, Judge, High Court of Karnataka, for sharing his immense knowledge with us in his previous session. Heartfelt acknowledgement to Sri Ramchandra Hudar, Sir, Director, Karnataka Judicial Academy, for his words full of guidance and motivation for each one of us. Moreover, sincere and majestic thankfulness to Sri Mohit, Judicial Magistrate First Class and Civil Judge Junior Division, for sharing his personal experience with much of honesty and simplicity. I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to our Honorable Dean Sir, Professor Dr. T.R. Subramanya, for his guidance and moral support. Dean Sir has always encouraged and motivated us to conduct such insightful sessions and workshops. I would also like to extend a heartfelt thanks to our beloved director, Sir, Dr. Vijay Praneshwaran, for his eternal support. Thank you so much, sir, for providing unending backing to make this event successful. I would even thank all our faculty colleagues, administration team, including tech team, having Srinidhi sir, Ardra ma'am, and Vignesh sir for their great help, and our whole college staff for extending their great support in execution of this workshop. A big thanks to Dr. Aruna and Ms. Ramya Chandrasekhar, faculty coordinators of Internship and Placement Cell, without whose vision, mission, and execution this workshop would not have been possible. A sincere and heartfelt thank you to all the participants who have turned up in such great numbers for attending these sessions. I must not forget to thank all the students who have volunteered and worked so hard for implementation of this workshop. Last but not the least, thank you to everyone who has helped directly or indirectly in making these certificate course sessions a grand success. Stay safe and take precautions. Thank you once again.
Thanks to you too, Arjit sir, for all the guidance and support that you gave.
With this, we come to the end of the program, and I would once again thank everybody who was instrumental in planning this program and all the eminent speakers in this on today. Thank you.